Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to decode something that honestly looks like an absolute superpower, the ability to read human behavior. I mean, have you ever wondered how certain individuals just seem to, get what you're feeling without you ever having to articulate a single word? Well, throughout this explainer, we're going to break down the exact psychology behind how they do it.
Just think about that for a second. How can some people tell that something is wrong with you before you even say a word? Seriously, you walk into a room, you haven't even opened your mouth yet, and a friend or a coworker immediately asks, "Hey, is everything okay?" It feels incredible, right? Almost uncanny. It's this super relatable scenario we've literally all experienced from one side or the other, and it instantly grabs your attention because it touches on our deep, human need to just be understood.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, not magic, just observation.
Okay, let's dive into this and debunk a massive myth right out of the gate. You know those highly observant people in your life? Yeah, they aren't mind readers, no magic involved. The reality, which is grounded firmly in behavioral psychology, is that they are simply much, much better at noticing patterns. This is actually a fully trainable skill rooted in recognizing continuous physical and emotional cues, paying really close attention to body language, and then processing all that data in real time.
Moving right along to section 2, spotting the micro cues.
So what exactly are we observing here? We're looking for micro cues. These are small shifts in body language, facial expressions, and just overall behavior. See, while most of us are completely distracted by the actual words coming out of someone's mouth, the experts are tracking these subtle physical shifts in real time. We're talking about a slight tightening of the jaw, a super brief flash of an expression, maybe a quick shift in posture. These are the real-time data points that reveal what's actually going on beneath the surface.
To kind of ground this psychological concept, let's look at a realistic everyday example. Imagine a coworker who is normally very calm and collected, but suddenly, during a specific part of a meeting, they just start fidgeting. Maybe they start tapping their pen, shifting their weight around in their chair, rubbing the back of their neck. The actual words being spoken in the room might be perfectly mundane, but their body is broadcasting discomfort or anxiety loud and clear. So the practical takeaway here is to actively watch for those subtle shifts in physical behavior. Don't just look at people, really observe them. I challenge you to notice when a posture changes or when someone's hands suddenly become restless. You will absolutely be amazed at how much unspoken information you start picking up on.
Which brings us to section 3, hearing beyond the words.
I'm fine. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that these are possibly the two most dangerous words in the English language. We've all heard it, and let's be honest, we've all said it, but the psychology of tone, pitch, and speed can completely override the dictionary definition of this phrase. If someone says it with a high-pitched, clipped tone, your brain immediately recognizes that they are, in fact, not fine at all. The voice carries its very own emotional signature.
Picture an everyday conversation. A friend tells you they are super happy about a recent life change. The vocabulary they use claims happiness, but their voice is entirely flat, strained, and totally lacking any of the typical energy or inflection we associate with joy. The words are saying one thing, but that strained tone reveals the absolute truth. The vocal delivery is basically betraying the script.
The lesson here is simple but incredibly powerful. Listen to the tone, pitch, and speed of the voice. I really urge you to consciously tune your ear to the delivery rather than just the vocabulary. Stop taking words purely at face value. When the words and the vocal tone contradict each other, trust the tone every single time. It is so much harder for a person to fake the unconscious micro-adjustments in their vocal cords than it is to just pick a polite vocabulary word.
All right, section 4, finding the behavioral baseline.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core concept. You simply cannot spot a meaningful deviation in someone's behavior if you don't first know their starting point. Professional behavioral analysts always compare normal behavior versus current behavior. What is considered fidgety and anxious for one person might be a totally normal, relaxed state for someone else. You absolutely have to establish that baseline first before you go looking for deviations.
Let's share a really vivid example of this. Imagine a loved one, maybe a family member, who is notoriously highly animated. You know the type. They talk with their hands, they're loud, they really take up space in a room. Then, one evening, they are completely still and quiet. Because you know their baseline is highly energetic, this sudden stillness is a massive, screaming red flag. A break in the baseline is literally the loudest alarm bell in nonverbal communication.
Therefore, your actionable advice here is to establish what is normal for someone before analyzing them.
Study a person's default state. How much eye contact do they normally make? How fast do they usually speak? Once you have that baseline mentally filed away, any current mood that deviates from it is going to stand out to you almost immediately.
Now for Section 5, the empathy advantage.
Because look, observing all these patterns is kind of useless if you don't have the heart to actually understand them. Emotional awareness is all about developing empathy to understand another person's perspective. True observation isn't about being this cold, calculating Sherlock Holmes, analyzing people like bugs under a microscope. Not at all. It's about putting yourself in their shoes to figure out exactly why their baseline shifted in the first place.
For instance, think about recognizing a friend's unvoiced stress. You notice the fidgeting, you hear that flat tone of voice, you realize they are acting way out of character. Because you have emotional awareness, you don't confront them aggressively. Instead, you gently offer your support before they ever even have to ask for it. You use your observations to bridge the gap and just make them feel seen.
The real practical application of this entire skill set is to foster deeper relationships. Use your observations to build connection, not judgment. When you notice someone acting strangely, the goal isn't to diagnose them or point out their flaws. It's to be a better, more supportive presence in their life. Empathy is the ultimate goal of reading people well.
And finally, Section 6, limits and practical takeaways.
So the crucial point we need to make here is a major reality check. Social cues can be super ambiguous and interpreted incorrectly. We absolutely must avoid those exaggerated Hollywood claims about body language. Like, someone folding their arms might mean they are feeling defensive, sure, but it also might just mean someone cranked up the AC and the room is freezing. Human behavior is incredibly complex. We observe to make educated guesses, not absolute certainties.
To wrap all this up, let's quickly walk through 3 final actionable steps for better understanding the people around you. 1. Listen carefully to both the actual words and the vocal tone. 2. Observe without immediately judging, so gather your data with empathy. And 3. Pay close attention to changes and deviations from their normal baseline.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, who will you observe with fresh eyes today? Armed with these tools, noticing patterns, hearing the tone, finding those baselines, and leading with empathy, you are now equipped to connect with people on a profoundly deeper level. Take this framework, apply it immediately, and see how the world just opens up when you truly start paying attention. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.